Does creating a sanctuary on your property actually work, or does it just hamstring you as a hunter? Let's get into it. What I mean by sanctuary creation is developing a particular location on your property that you do not enter, go into, maybe you make improvements to during your post-season time, during this time frame when we're after deer season. You've got a fantastic time to actually implement some hinge cutting, some plantings, and some other creation for that sanctuary. But to actually set aside a specific area in the property to help these bucks feel safe on your property, does that truly work? That is what creating a sanctuary is all about. It's creating a safe place on your property. But by creating that safe place on the property and you not entering it at all, is that a good hunting strategy moving forward into the fall? So let me build a scenario for you. You've got 200 acres and you want to set aside, say, 50 acres of that thick, dense wooded timber, underbrush, whatever it may be, for bedding cover that you do not enter, period. For no reason at all do you go into that spot. You accomplish your goals by creating a safe place for those deer to reside and those big bucks just to grow and feel safe on your property. But when it gets down to deer season, if you do not do your part as a hunter to keep those deer feeling safe on the rest of that 200 acres, so the rest of that 150 acres on your property, all that buck has to do is stay inside that 50 acres on your property that you have created as a sanctuary and never exit for you to actually get an opportunity to harvest that buck. So when I go about designing a habitat and hunting strategy for my clients on their property, my number one goal is to make the deer feel safe on property, implementing a sanctuary strategy and an overall human presence and hunting pressure strategy to make those deer feel safe, to get them to use the property more often during daylight. That's the whole purpose of what we do, to try to get those deer to use your property more often during daylight than your neighbor's property. The next thing we're going to do is actually put together a tree stand strategy to where you can take full advantage of not only the food plots and food distribution that you have created on property, but also those sanctuary strategies that we have put in place as well. It does you no good to have the deer on property and not hunt it properly to take advantage of those habitat improvements that you have put into place. So by creating proper access routes into those tree stands, hunting them properly, hunting the wind, hunting them at the correct timing, and really being smart about your hunting strategy moving forward, you can actually take full advantage of those sanctuaries when they're using them the most during daylight. There's certain times of the year you're going to stay out of them, period. Make them feel safe, and then you go in for a strategic hunt, strategically timed. You know where the sign is, you know where he's using the most. You go in on a specific cold front, the perfect conditions, and there's a decent chance that that's a one and done hunt. That's the same kind of strategy we use in public land a lot of times, is strategically hunting a spot as best we can to put that deer down on as few sits as possible. The more you hunt a specific stand location, the lower that stand's value goes. It drops like a ton of bricks. The more you access it, the more scent you leave, the more disturbance you have on that specific location, the less value that stand has. If your number one goal is hunting and harvesting really big mature bucks off of that property on a regular basis, any kind of hiking you do on that property, running your UTVs or ATVs around that property, any and all activity on that property drops that safety level. So how do we go about actually sectioning out a client's property? Because let's just be real, most people want to use their property versus for something more than just hunting. You want to use your ATVs, you want to take walks on your trails. So how can you go about actually sectioning out your property in a manner that you can still accomplish your hunting goals with your overall enjoyment of the property. And that just comes down to making sure that you are not consistently on a regular basis accessing those areas that you want to keep as a safe place or walking around them. You know, you hear about wind bumping. Well, if you walk on the upwind side of that sanctuary, just taking a hike, you're going to wind bump everything out of that sanctuary. If you're running your ATVs around, you're just creating stress in that area. So if that is something you want to do, keep that activity, the primary portion of that activity, closer to the house, as far away from that sanctuary as you possibly can. And if you do want to run around that trail, because it's a pretty sweet trail that you have created, do it seldom. Do it on a don't do it on a regular basis. Do it here and there. Do it enough to scout, gather information, and then get the heck out of there. Or maybe you choose rainy days or high wind days to help mask any kind of disturbance that you had in that specific location walking around that sanctuary. So there's ways you can get around just using an area that you'd stay out of, don't go near. It is what it is, deer only, and you can enjoy your property at the same time. So thanks for watching, y'all. Please hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, send me a comment down below, or even better yet, send me an email or text message. We'd love to hear from you. If not, I'll see you on the next video.